wish you were here by my side. Your song in my ear, your hand on my thigh. The highway is clear, unlike my mind. I'm dreaming as I drive. I've been inside my own head for days, but this fantasy is keeping me awake. I wanna get lost in the night, stuck in a road stop neither of us like. Eat till we talk, laugh till we cry. Tell me it's not too late. I wanna get lost and miss the signs. I never liked adventure, but you changed my mind. Sleep with the stars, lose track of time. Tell me it's not too late to try. Tell me it's not too late. We could see the world, you and I. There's no place on this earth that isn't better with your hand in mine. It's taken me way too long to realize, and now I'm dreaming as I drive. I've been inside my own head for days, watching you kiss all my breath away. Getting tired of the twists and the turns we take, but at least this fantasy is keeping me awake. Yeah, I wanna get lost in the night, stuck in a small town nobody can find. Eat till we drop, laugh till we cry. Tell me it's not too late. I wanna get lost and miss the signs. I never liked adventure, but you changed my mind. Sleep in your arms, make up for lost time. Tell me it's not too late to try. Tell me it's not too late. It's not too late. I know we made mistakes and messed up the navigation, but let's find another way then, because I want you in my life. Where do you wanna go? I promise we'll take it slow, get lost on all the back roads. Oh, just tell me we can try. In the night, stuck in a road stop, neither of us like. Till we drop, laugh till we cry. Tell me it's not too late. I wanna get lost and miss the signs. I never liked adventure, but you changed my mind. Sleep with the stars, lose track of time. Tell me it's not too late. I wanna get lost in the night, stuck in a road stop, neither of us like. Lost with you, it's not too late. Lost with you. I never liked adventure, but you changed my mind. Sleep with the stars, lose track of time. Tell me it's not too late.
All right. Let us get this show on the road. Saying, all right, let's see. Okie doke. There we go. Move my microphone a little closer so I don't have to talk quite as loud. It is Thursday. It is March 13th. This is the TTRPG Theater. I am your host, Phantom NJ. Rob, you can call me either. I'll answer to either. You know, I try for you not to call me Phantom NJ in public, but whatever. Yeah, we are less than a week out from GaryCon. Can you believe it? It's finally here. It's almost here. I'm bouncing. I'm all kinds of excited. It's hard to believe that, you know, I still remember vividly last year, and, you know, suddenly we're here again, and I can't wait for this to get started. I know it's going to be over before it, it's going to be one of those things where the weekend is just going to fly by, and I accept that, and I understand that, but there is so much to do. There are so many things that I'm looking forward to. So many people I'm looking forward to seeing, and it's going to be a great time. So let's start off with the obvious stuff. First of all, I want to add that we are a sponsored stream. We are sponsored by Trollard Games, makers of Castles and Crusades, Amazing Adventures, and other fine products, including Victorious, which is a game I think they're hoping to bring back at some point. Um, yeah, yeah. So I know there's a TLG stream going on right now. Kind of have it on lurking in the background. I don't know what they're talking about. Probably about Castle Zagig, which I did end up backing. It's doing incredibly well. Last I checked, it was somewhere around 340,000, and they're only it's only day two now. As a matter of fact, I think we're only just a little past the 24-hour mark since the started. Might be maybe about 27 hours or so since then. So it's doing incredibly well. Um, you know, when I looked at it, I was like, I'm probably going to buy it anyway. There is, apparently it's going to be cheaper doing it this way. It's like 25% off. I, I'm not worried about when it comes out. I know it's going to come out. And so it's like, what the heck, I can wait. I'm waiting on other TLG stuff. So, and I have no fear about whether it's going to get here. It's just a matter of when. And I'm not in any particular rush, so I figured I'd do it now and contribute to the great showing that it's had, and it's fantastic showing. Again, they're at the 350K, 340, 350K. Actually, let me check on that, so I can better speak to it and not be just pulling numbers out. Oh, I've undersold it a bit. They are at 360K, 1,653 backers so far. That is freaking amazing. Um, one of the other things I'm planning on backing, and I think I'm going to wait until I get back from GaryCon, only because I want to make sure that one of the things I want to do is I want to pick up Shadow Dark while I'm there, and hopefully get it signed by Kelsey Dion, the author. I got to meet her 2 years ago when before Shadow Dark, the Kickstarter had even gotten in, began. I've got the starter kit that she was giving out. She's talking to anyone who would talk, anyone who would listen out in the hallways outside the game room where my games were. So, um, they've got an expansion. Actually, I think it's a campaign setting. The Outer Reaches, I believe it is, on Kickstarter right now. It's already well over $1 million in. It looks like it's going to be every bit the smash. It's already every bit the smash hit that the original game was. So cool. I'm looking forward to that, but I want to make sure that I'm able to pick up Shadow Dark, because last year when I tried to pick it up, they had sold out. Because if not, I might as well just add Shadow Dark to the Kickstarter and do it that way. Help prop it up a little more. Ooh, all right. Another thing to note, we do have a giveaway going. It is from Troller Games. It's a $10 coupon towards any digital product off the Troller Games website. You can use it, you can put it towards any of the adventures, any of the source books. Some of the adventures are probably less than the digital coupon. I don't know if it leaves a balance for you, so you might want to pick up two things and just defer some of the cost. I use mine to pick up the PDFs for. I'd gotten the Engineering Towns, I think is the one that just came out. So I picked up the Engineering Dungeons and Engineering Castles in PDF, because I realized that I had the physical copies. I did not have the PDF version of them. Ooh, all right, all right. So let me see. Um, I wanted to talk tonight regarding cons. I do actually, yes, I also have a mail call, something I won on a stream. Hey, Mike, good to see you, sir. Yeah, looking forward to seeing you too. When are you getting in? How long are you staying? Are you going to be there from are you there from Wednesday? Are you getting in Wednesday, and are you staying through Sunday or Monday? Or I know you're somewhat in the area, aren't you? Wednesday late till okay, mid Saturday. All right. Cool. Yeah, I'm going to be there. This is kind of funny. I'm going to be there super early and staying till like super late. Yeah, understood. I'll be getting in. My flight lands in Chicago at like 9:30 in the morning or something like that. I thought originally I thought my flight was like at nine, leaving at 9:30. It's like nope. It's landing at 9:30. My flight leaves, Newark at 6:30 or something like that. So I'm going to be getting in the area probably by lunchtime. I'll have to find something to eat and then go, go wait for my hotel room to be ready. But yeah, it's gonna be cool. Can't wait. I'm there till Monday, Ty. Good to see you too, sir. Um, I will be there till Monday. I decided this year that I was tired of getting up on Sundays and then having that. Do I want to just get on the road, or do I want to go down to the vendor hall? And then last year on Sunday I wasn't feeling well, and so I ended up never actually doing the vendor hall that Sunday. And there's still people hanging around. There's still too many people there on Sundays. So I'm like, what the hell? I'll stay till Sunday. I'm apparently running a CNC game on Sunday afternoon. Somebody asked me to put one together. I told them it's like I'll run it as long as somebody finds people. As long as he finds the players. It's like whoever's around, you're more than welcome to play. So yeah, I'm not flying out. I'm not flying back until like Monday evening. I've got an actual late flight, so I can take my time. Sunday night, I can just enjoy company of whoever's around. I think a bunch of us might be going out to dinner. I'm not sure what's going on. And then Monday, relax, come home. Um, yeah, I wish Milwaukee had a good direct flight for me, but unfortunately, the only direct flights for me to Milwaukee, I think, are United, and you will. Uh, Things have gone horribly wrong if you've ever catch me on a United flight. I mean yeah, that's not. I'm not just no. I, I'm not doing that to myself. No way, no how. American Airlines flies direct into from Newark into O'Hare, which is really honestly it's about as convenient for me as you get. At this point, I know the airport. Hey, Justinia, it's good to see you. Um, going through O'Hare is a pain in the ass, but it's not like I'm in any rush. Actually, I still have the boot on my foot, so I am actually getting wheelchair ride from the plane to baggage claim, and uh, I think I'm going to see if I can get a ride from baggage claim all the way to the car rental place, from the car rental thing, because that's the bigger pain in the ass. Walking slowly toward to baggage claim with a carry on is one thing. Walking with two suitcases and a carry on in a boot and making my way to the going all the way up and down constantly, switching levels to get to the car rental place is annoying as hell. It's annoying as hell when you're regularly doing that. Yeah, it was annoying without a boot. I mean, honestly, it's just a pain in the ass. So I'm going to see what's possible. I don't know if it's going to be possible because of the fact that it includes a ride, a tram ride. I don't know if they do that all the way from one to the other, but if I just have to take it very slowly, I take it very slowly. I'm not too worried about it. Um, and then it's about an hour, a little over an hour to drive from O'Hare to Lake Geneva. I it was funny. The first year I went, it seemed like it was a hell of a long ride, and then it turned out to not be that at all. As like next year is like, okay, no, this is actually really really quick. It's like two highways and one state road, and you're there. It's like what the hell? It all got really really turned out being really quick. But yeah, no, it's gonna be an amazing weekend. So the topic for today, because it's one I've touched on before, but with the convention being next week, I kind of wanted to bring up again talking about tips and tricks about running games at a convention. Um, GaryCon, GaryCon's not. It's funny. GaryCon might be the only one. I ran a game at a local convention years and years and years and years ago. I mean, I probably was in like my early 20s. I might still have been a teenager for all I know at the time. Because I'm pretty sure it was still like an AD&D. Still might have been AD&D 1E when I was running it back then. But running been running games at GaryCon for a few years now. This will be year 4 of attending, and year 4 of running games, and it's been kind of wild. It's been really really cool. It's everything you would want it to be. Actually, no, I don't remember. Did I run games my first year? I don't know. I think I did. Um, I only think I might have run one though. I don't think I ran more than one if I did. But the last couple of years I've run 3 games: the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'll be doing the same thing this year. And there are things that I learned that in terms of between playing in other people's games and um, Cobalt Press at Gen. Oh boy, that's that's a hell of a thing when your first thing is you're running it for a group like Cobalt Press and you're running it at Gen Con. Oh, oh man. I mean, I guess in sort of a way, I am sort of running games for Troller games, but the not officially in that sense, but my games are part of the Endless Worlds program that they have for basically earning credits for running games, TLG games at various conventions and other places. Um, and the first thing that I learned was the value of location, location, location. It's getting there first, and it's you're kind of. I mean, you're in a bit at the mercy of the luck of the draw in terms of where your table is. Um, what I did learn is if you're lucky enough to have a table up against the wall, be the person against the wall. Because I ran one year, I for one of the games I decided to not do that, and it was very very distracting having people walk past and in my eye line is one thing. You're at a con, you're used to it. It doesn't take long to adjust to that. It's a lot more distracting to have people walk behind you for some reason. I don't know why that is, but it was one of those things where every time somebody walked behind me, I don't know, maybe I was just always concerned whether they were going to be able to fit through or what the case might be. But yeah, it's a totally different feeling. So I'm really really big against about singing against the wall. Um, One thing that I will never stop in terms of mentioning to people is staying the importance of staying hydrated. Um, you're in a convention area, you know the the air quality is going to be questionable at best, and most likely you're going to spend if you're at a convention, even if you're only running one game, you're going to spend as long as you're the social type or even reasonably social, you're going to spend a lot of your time talking, and your throat's going to get dry, and you need to make sure that you keep yourself. Yeah, yeah. I am seriously considering like buying one of those 12 packs of water on the way, and bringing it to the hotel room. Um, it's it. I'm really thinking that is the way to go. Um, I might like check into the hotel room and then go shopping and pick up some supplies for the room, including water. Um, but yeah, you need to be drinking the water as often as possible. Obviously, it helps if you have a bladder that can get you through your entire session without needing to take a break. However, there's nothing wrong with taking a quick 5 minute bio in the middle of a session and let everybody, use the bathroom or whatever. But yeah, water, lots of water. Um, Keep yourself hydrated because otherwise you will end up losing your voice. You will end up coughing. And it's also a good chance that it's going to help you get a nice case of con crud. Cause that constantly going around. I ended up getting, last year I ended up getting con crud on the very last day on Sunday. What was it, the year before? Was it the year before that I ended up coming home and having COVID? It's one of the years. It was the year 2020. So last year was 2024. No, the year before the year before I think I ended up developing con crud um, after already getting home. Oh, that's a good idea. I need to look into that. I normally have like vitamin C and zinc tablets with me, but I need to take a look into grabbing airborne. People keep telling me, and I keep forgetting. So looking into that. Um, Another thing, whenever it is you have to show up for whenever your game starts, highly recommend being there half an hour early. Not to say that you should be hovering for the entire half hour, but if you're not the first game at that table during the day, you want to make sure that, well, first of all, you want to make sure that you're ready to go as soon as the other GM vacates the table. And also, kind of, I hate to say it, you might need to point out the fact that, if they're starting to, the GM is supposed to cut the game about 10 minutes before the whatever hour it's supposed to end. You're not, even if you're scheduled for a 4 hour session, it's not supposed to go the full four. You're supposed to, give 10 minutes or so, or 50, I think it's 10. I think they said for 10 minutes. Make sure that they know you're there and you're waiting. Um, don't be rude about it, obviously, but just a subtle, um, standing there with your bags should be enough. Um, Also, and on the flip side, don't be that person who is oblivious to the fact that they need to wrap up their game. So when it's on, have a plan to vacate the table as soon as possible, which is going to impact other things. Because if there's a game coming up behind you, and you may or may not know whether that's the case, but if you have an early game, you can pretty much assume that it's true. Especially in like a room like the TLG room where there's a lot of Castles and Crusades and Amazing Adventures games being run. Make sure that you have a plan to get up and out of there as quickly as possible. So like as you're finished with things, put them wherever it is so that you're like putting things away as you go. Um, what else is there? Um, then there's the question of running the actual game. And hold on a second, I need to get myself comfortable. The seat is kind of in the exact, sometimes I have to be careful with it. Um, so there are a lot of different styles that I've seen and, played in a con game. There's the full on theater of the mind game. And I love theater of the, I'm a theater of the mind person heavily. There's the question, there are games that are extremely heavy on terrain. There and it may be honestly, the whole game may be, it might be 5 minutes of intro, and then then you're there at the miniatures and trying to figure out the plan of attack and how you're getting through. Where it could be a dungeon crawl, it could be an overland, terrain crawl. Anyone who's played in one of Lord of the Zombies games or have watched, I played in his sessions. I played in other sessions that were just that method. It was a few minutes of intro. I mean, some role play to it. But a lot of the role play would be as you were making your moves. But it was is really quick to get to the point where you're the tactical stuff started taking over. And that's fine. It's a lot of fun. I like playing that method. I don't have that the kind of it's not the kind of adventure I run. I do like having combat. I do like having some terrain. I like a lot more role play to get to the point and then do something short and sweet. Either way, I mean, whatever works for, or you might be the type that goes for pure theater of the mind, and all the combat is done theater of the mind as well. That's that. Listen, that's perfectly fine. Please make sure that your players have an idea of what to expect, because there are some there are some for whom a full theater of the mind doesn't work. Uh, Combat can be a tricky thing for people who are for some. They have issues visualizing it in their heads, and it may not be a game suitable for them. So, and then there are some who only want theater of the mind. They don't want to be staring at terrain, no matter how nice it is. Um, and some are happy with something in between, or flexible and going either way. Uh, the thing about terrain is the fact that please be remember that terrain is going to take some time to take down, and so make sure you either have help or that you have a plan to be able to get the terrain out of there quickly. Because again, you don't want to lose too much time having to basically stop the game early just so you can get everything off the table and have it ready for the next GM. At the same time, you need to make sure that you're you don't want to ruin your terrain by trying to break it down too quickly and screwing something up, or accidentally leaving something there, or whatever the case may be. So, my suggestion is if you decide to go the terrain route, use, either make sure you have a plan or help in getting stuff out of there, or use just enough to get you through. For my purposes, what I do, especially because I don't have huge set pieces, is I've got a number of terrain elements that I can use, things that I can add on, and stuff that I can easily break down into small parts. Toss in the suitcase. I usually bring my stuff for my given session in a carry-on. I'll empty my carry-on at the hotel, take all the clothes out and whatever, and use it to carry my terrain, the terrain that I need for the session with me. Hey, Touch of Evil, good to see you. And with that, I'll have some kind of battle map. Sometimes it really, honestly, is just easier to have one of the straight up tan. I think if most of them are made by Chessex, or it might be another group. Tan map with the straight up grid, and then add a couple of terrain pieces to it. Use dry erase markers to draw some other stuff in if necessary, if there's anything that the players need to be aware of, in terms of like hills and things, or where road is if you don't have terrain to signify a road. Whatever the case may be, don't overthink it. I know the urge is there to either have this wonderfully beautiful terrain setup that's going to wow your players, and hey, if you can do that, fantastic. But if you don't have enough of it and you don't have you don't have the necessary train pieces, don't let perfect become the enemy of good. And you know what I said about water? I should have drank more water before starting the stream. But here we are. Don't let enemy become the perfect of let perfect be the enemy of good. Good enough. Whatever you have, put out, use it. You know, whatever miniatures you have, if you can match miniatures, reasonably match miniatures to the to the characters that you're giving or people are using, fantastic. That's always a bonus. Um, Honestly, I would focus more on the miniatures and any creatures that you have and make sure that they're painted. Because in the end, those are the things, that's the kind of stuff that people are going to really remember most. Um, and again, any terrain elements that you can add to it, gravy. It's more about the more about the getting together, rolling some dice, being able to visualize where everything is. And even if you do have these magnificent, and this is one thing that I try to emphasize for my type of game anyway. Um, if you are doing more of a storytelling type game with, but using terrain or some such for combat, even if you have really nice terrain, don't let it tell the entire story. Um, it, if you're in a pure tactical game where it's really like not necessarily heavy on the role playing or role playing isn't the main part of it. Um, you know, it's a slightly it's a different animal. And the train can speak for everything because it's the nature of the game and the way that the game is playing out. But if you're playing a role play heavy game, even if when you get to that combat portion of it and you get to the where they are in like say they have a dungeon or even if you have like caverns or whatever, continue the descriptions. Don't that's the best way, and it's a great way to get past the any lack of particular elements you have in your current setup. Is to be descriptive about it, and even if you have something to cover that part, describe it anyway. Have that visual for them so that it'll add and enhance to whatever it is you're putting out on the table. And I mean, again, your experiences might be different, but I can speak to speak to the role play with role play and then using terrain for combat. My game does not the way I run my games, especially at cons, does not revolve simply about getting putting the terrain out and having work your way through it. I've played in those games; they're fun. I mean, I've done it with Jay Lord Gazumma a number of times. Last year I got to play in Stefan Picorni's game, and you literally started off at the at one end of the terrain and made your way through the through this dungeon. It was a hell of a lot of fun. I enjoyed playing it. It's not the style of game I run. If I had access to the kind of terrain that he has, I still not entirely sure that I would. But then again, I also wouldn't try to run a game with that kind of terrain because, again, you only have so many hours. Which brings me to another thing. Usually, and a lot of times when you're running a game at a con, you're not going to know all of your players. You may, if you've been doing it long enough, you may have repeat players, which is cool. And you may get to know people, or you may have met them outside, which I can say that I've been lucky enough to meet a number of the people that I have in my games this year outside of the con. I've known them from online community, and they've seen my game. They've seen me run games before. Um, and I forgot where I was going with this. Oh, right. So the with not necessarily knowing at least some of your players, you're not sure what your players are going to decide to do, or especially if you're doing like role play session, how long the role play is going to go on, and it's the same normal thing as running a stream game where you need to figure out, especially if it's supposed to be especially given that it's kind of be a one shot, um, how to get to the next section, and when to be cognizant of when to cut them off, or find a way to move on. Not really cut them off, but move on. You also want to make sure, especially when you're at a convention, it is extremely important to make sure that all of your players are getting a chance to participate. So there may be the one person who is above and beyond with the as far as like the role playing and interacting, um, but you need to watch for everyone. Make sure that you're giving each player a chance to shine, and this is the kind of thing that you should be doing anyway, as just general rule as a GM. Find things that allow your players to shine. If you've got characters and and you should know who the characters are, find the things that call a work towards their abilities, and have them, if they're not interacting, have them make a roll or do something, give a description specific for their character, that something they see, they smell, they hear, depending on, what, if they're playing a racial, a species that has a particular racial ability, um, you know, do something to highlight their character. Because they're there, they spent money to be at this con. GaryCon thankfully does not have you pay for, the tickets for each individual game. Um, I'm going to leave that there. I'm not going to go off on any additional rants right now because we don't have that kind of time. But GaryCon, thankfully, you're paying for your ticket. You're paying for all the things to get you to the con. Or you're paying for the badge, paying for all the things to get you to the con, and that's then after that, they've signed up for your game and they've entrusted you with the 2, 3, 4 hour block of time, and it's an act of faith that they're putting, a trust that they're putting in you to show, help them have a good time. It's something that I take seriously. I want my players to walk away from the table saying, "Well, that was cool." Be able to say that I enjoyed playing this game. I enjoyed playing. I'd be running CNC. I enjoyed playing CNC, and heck, I want to do this again next year. That for me, that's the goal. Make it so that people want to come back. Um, so yeah, it's very important that you make sure that you're keeping track internally of one, is everybody involved? And figuring out how to get those who might be a little quiet, get them involved. And then also how to make sure that you're hitting the necessary story beats. 4 hours, my con sessions at GaryCon are 4 hours. There were the 3 hours and 50 minutes as we talked before about the needing to end early to, clear the table for the next group. That goes by really, really quick. And, you think you have a lot of time, but you don't, especially if you're playing a game that has, role playing aspects to it. Even a pure combat heavy or hex crawl type situation, um, that can still go really quick. Especially if you're running the kind of hex crawl where people have to be ultra careful, and you can have players suddenly freezing up trying to figure out, well, okay, how careful do we need to be, and trying to make the decisions to keep themselves alive. Um, but it 4 hours can go really really quick, so it's very easy to over plan. Um, Understand that you need to have some time management. You need to understand where you are in the time, in your time allotment, how much time you have left, and figure out what you need to do to get them to whatever that final encounter you have planned. Because let's face it, the idea with the con game is you have the final encounter. That is the big payoff. Um, I would never personally plan for more than normally I would not plan for more than two combat encounters total, including the final one. Um, the only way I would add a third is if I decided to start the session in the middle of combat. There's uh, basically there is an immediate there's an immediate combat. The party is on their way to somewhere and they're attacked, or they were heading on a road and they saw a group basically being harassed by goblins or whatever. And really, the main reason I would do that is if I knew that there were a number of people who had no experience with the game, because it helps. It'd be something quick and basically something really quick. It would not be a long, prolonged encounter, just something so that I could really walk people through the basics of combat during the game and using their attacks and how that works. I'm not it's something I do rarely. I really have to know that the entire group is kind of new to the system. Otherwise we'll start off somewhere else in terms of the adventure. Um, Pre-gens. Have pre-gens ready for your players. It is there's a temptation to have people, sometimes might be a temptation to have people roll up characters. You do not have time to roll up characters at the table. You just don't. Um, you're as as interesting as the idea may be, it is a lot of time spent on something that it's questionable. You are much better off creating a wide range of pre-gens and letting your players choose from them, especially because most con games you're not doing them at level one. I think I've played in one con game where I was level one at the time, and you're it's very even as a game master, it's very limiting. Most of my con games with CNC, I've been starting them off with the characters with 9,001 experience. What level you are depends on which class you are, because they have in CNC, like AD&D 1E and 2E, they have different experience tables. They're usually somewhere. They're either normally level 3 or level 4 at that point. Uh, at some point, I might actually raise that a bit and have a bit. But these characters are part of my campaign, so I've been going with 9,001 just because that's what my the new players to the campaign have been. Um, yeah, but pre-gens, create pre-gens. And if you want to if you want to give your players an idea what pre-gens are available ahead of time, that's great. You can do that. It can get a little tricky because then it's like, well, how do you decide who gets what first? And not all of your players are going to read the emails that you send through. If it's through tabletop events, I promise you, there's going to be at least two people out of any given six who do not read the emails at all. And that might be on in a good year. Um, what else is there? As far as what players need to bring with them, for me, it's really easy. Um, you know, paper, maybe a pencil or a pen or something to write with. Because they can on their character sheet and dice. If they want to bring the books, that's great. Um, for me, it's a matter of their comfort level, and really, honestly, your comfort level walking them through stuff. Um, I don't require, I don't. For me, my players don't need to have the books with them because I will. One, first of all, I'll probably have the player's handbook on me. Um, but I can also pretty much walk them through everything on their character sheet. So if there's any question, they're good to go. Um, if not, I'm happy to let them look up something in my books. Not a bit for me. It's not a big deal. Um, what else is there? I feel like I'm forgetting something. I was trying to figure out what I was doing tonight. And of course, this was the idea that came to me, and as always, it's very very ad hoc and just figuring it out as I go along. Um, Also, please remember you're supposed to be having fun as the game master. You're supposed to have fun. Um, you know, don't let the stress. I know I said before that they've put their trust in you to run a fun game for them. Um, but it's easy to let that stress get to you. If especially if you have imposter syndrome, like I do a lot of the time, it can be very stressful. What I want, like to remind people of is the fact that your players are there to have a good time. They are predisposed to having a good time, assuming nothing else has happened to them at the con to ruin that good feeling. But yeah, your players are there, predisposed to have a good time. They're expecting to have fun, which for me goes a long way into helping them have fun. So, um, as long as you bring that energy, that positivity, that creativity, they're probably going to enjoy themselves. And it's important that you remember that you're supposed to have fun too. So you know, don't be too hard on yourself if something goes a little off the rails. Uh, you know, it, don't think you need to be perfect. You do not need to be perfect. Uh, there's, you know, we you're not expected to have everything memorized. That's why you have the books. And in a game, in a game like CNC, it's rulings, not rules. So, make a ruling on something, whatever works for the given situation, and just run with it and don't worry about it. Just move on. Don't let yourself, don't beat yourself up over anything that goes a little off kilter. And have fun, enjoy yourself. You're running a game at a convention. People have come to play the game that you are running, which is really, really, honestly, it's a really, really cool feeling. Um, I remember the first year that I ran games with GaryCon. It took a while for my games to fill. Now, silver badges. The day my games have been filled the day silver badges went on sale, which is or silver tickets for silver badge holders went on sale. Which is an amazing feeling. It's like, okay, cool. I'm running 3 games. There's 6 seats per table. I've got all 3 games filled up like the day of, and I've got people on a waiting list for all 3 sessions, which I think is amazing. It's a good feeling, and it really helps bring that energy, um, which is something that you need to do when you're at a convention. Soak it all in. Bring the energy. Bring the camaraderie of all the people around. Take it all in. Look around. Look at all the people sitting there rolling dice, and you're going to be in a room with a lot of other tables, a lot of different sounds, um, and it's just take it all in, enjoy, and bring that energy. Run your game and have a great time. All right, and I think that's enough sermonizing by me on all that. You know, again, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I've got stuff to do this weekend. Is all about, for anyone who's wondering what my weekend looks like, laundry and packing. Thankfully, it's not a heck of a lot of laundry because I only have to worry about what 5 days, 5 days or so. So there's that's a big help. And I'll be wearing the clothing for the first day while I'm as I'm there. So really, honestly, it's laundry for 4 more days beyond that. Um, and then picking out which terrain pieces I'm bringing with me, making sure those are packed, and um, I'd like to probably paint some more miniatures. I already have enough. I know I have enough miniatures painted already because I have all the miniatures painted from last year. So I'll just be bringing that with me. But it'd be helpful if I had some more along the way. And then it's really, honestly, it's then just getting through the few days of work that I have left, and you know being ready at the way before the sun rises, being ready for the car ride to the airport, and getting on my plane and making my way. And at which point I will be seeing a whole lot of you at GaryCon, and I'm looking forward to it. It's been really cool. There are people that I've seen pretty much every year that I'm still looking forward to seeing again. There are people that I'm going to meet for the very, very first time in person. And despite the fact that I've known them for years, Dungeon Mr. Ty is one of them. Can't wait to play some New Varden. And it's gonna be a fantastic time. So GaryCon is here. We are less than a week away. Let's get the show on the road. And with that, I think we're going to draw things to a close because looks like Jay was got on started very early this evening. So what I'm going to do is go to the last call for the for what do you call it? Last call for the raffle. There are currently 2 entries for the raffle. I had a feeling it was going to be this kind of night. I wasn't all too concerned about it, but hey, what can you do? But yeah, I currently have 2 entries. Gonna do it anyway, cause what the hell? Use them or lose them. And I'm going to go to stream ending, and then we're going to close the raffle, and then we're going to raid in. So closing the giveaway in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drawing a winner. All right, Diamond Anvil, congratulations. You have won the giveaway, and I'm pretty sure that I've got you in. Actually, I know I have you in Discord somewhere in one of the either in a chat or in one of the Discord servers. Maybe even my. Actually, I think you're in my own. So let's do this. Get set up to raid into Lord Gazumba. All right. Thanks, Touch Vivo. I appreciate it. I will, I'm looking forward to it, and I will see you all either at GaryCon or in my next session, my next stream in 2 weeks, and see you on the flip side.